Today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the Medicom Toys Mafex Batman v Superman figure number 17, Batman. Spot's been keeping his eyes peeled. Ooh. I've been keeping my eyes peeled, though, in local comic book stores for this guy to finally be released, as I did definitely want to pick him up. From the production photos of this guy's release, he definitely looked like he was going to be a very impressive Batman, just in a smaller scale. He comes with a ton of different hands. He comes with a Batarang, he comes with his grapnel blaster, and he also even comes with the grenade launcher when he's fighting the Man of Steel. Down below, it's interesting that they use this Batman production photo. It's actually not the photo itself, it's the figure, but they posed it in the same gesture as the first appearance that we saw of Batfleck. The side of the box shows you Batman holding his grapple blaster, or grapnel shooter. And then on the back, it shows different poses of displaying the figure. Of course, also featured some writing there that I am unable to pronounce or read to you. It's figure number 17 of the Mafex Batman v Superman line. I think there was also the Superman in the comic book store where I go to as well. Definitely will be picking him up too. That is packaging aside. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the Medicom Toys Mafex Batman action figure. There's more heading your way. Don't go anywhere. How about the first thing that we have a look at is the included display stand that comes with Batman. The stand is adjustable. There's peg points on either side as well as on the back, so you can easily just adjust it out depending on which way you want to have it displayed. Eventually, when you do get the Batman or the Superman, I'm assuming it's going to be the same style of stand. So what you can always do is have one angled on this corner, have the other one angled on this corner, and actually have them in a battling, a diorama style. The neck is also adjustable, both at the bottom and mid-knuckle of the neck, as well as the top of the neck is also adjustable as well. This could technically rotate, but sometimes it does want to fall off, and you have the adjustable waist clip as well. Personally, I'm always apprehensive when it comes to stands like this, as they're always clear plastic. I always worry that these will eventually crack, just by regular use. I wish they would use something other than clear, but I understand for displaying the figures, sometimes you don't want to have, such a visible eyesore as having something like a dark black stand, and then you've got the figure standing with it. Clear stands are clearly the way to go, no pun intended, but I just don't like clear plastic that much. Let's put that to the side. We'll put Batman right there. Some of the other accessories that come included with Mafex Batman is the grenade launcher that we saw him use, dispensing the aerosol or the canisters of kryptonite gas when he was fighting Superman. There's not really any paint on it per se. It's primarily just molded in black plastic. He does also come with his grapnel blaster or grapnel shooter, as you can see, with a couple of hooks on the side. At least this has some paint. Whereas the grenade launcher doesn't have any paint. At least they put more effort into the blaster, as this is primarily going to be what I'm going to be displaying him with. And that'll fit easily into his hand. He does also have a very small Batarang, adorned in in a silver paint finish. I like the Batarangs in the new Batman, in this Batman universe. And then also you get yourself a grenade. There's one singular grenade. Pan back. He also has a ton of different hands. Let's kind of go through those together. By default, what you get him out of the packaging with is closed fists. He gets 2 of those. However, he does have a series of holding hands. One's suited for holding the grapnel blaster and grenade launching. He's got a couple of open hands, like that. He's also got this hand as well, which does appear like it wants to be a peace sign. It's not for a peace sign, but might primarily for like the Batarang. If you want to have the hands kind of extended out, you could do that. And he's got another one like this, and a couple of partially closed hands, but with thumbs up. So it does get a lot of different interchangeable hands. All right, so let's have a look at the figure itself. We've spent a lot of time looking at all the accessories. We looked at the display stand. Let's look at the meat and potatoes of it all. Let's look at the figure itself. The figure actually turned out pretty good. There's two things I don't care for on the figure, but I think for the most part the figure looks decent. I like his outfit. I think the outfit stacks up well. All right, let's just start with we'll start with some negatives, I guess. Let's have a look at his face. The face is decent. He is always in kind of a looking to the side gesture though, or with his eyes. I don't know if you can see it or not, but his eyes are always facing the one way. It would have been cool if they had somehow incorporated something to change the eyes, or just really simply have them facing forward. But instead the eyes are kind of looking this way. One thing I'm not crazy about is the paint that they applied to the mouth area. They've clearly tried to add some additional like stubble to his facial expression, or to his actual face profile, but the additional gray that they've added right here around the, I guess, the nostril area, it's a little too gray, and I also don't care for the color that they used for the flesh tone. It comes across very tanned, very orangey almost, as opposed to being a natural flesh tone. Other than that, I like the head sculpt. The head sculpt is quite good. Again, very good side profile. Not sure why the eyes face the one way, and I wish that the coloring on the mouth was just a little bit different. But overall, I think the head sculpt is pretty good. One of the other things I'm not crazy about is the cape. They've put a wire frame in it with the notion that you could bend it, and by giving it props, you can bend the cape quite well, which should be technically a good thing. The downside, though, to it is that it's either because the figure is so small or because they put the wire frame so far to the edge of the cape that areas such as the top of the shoulder area, it bunches this very visible frame. You can see a very visible frame around the shoulder areas. I don't like that as much. If they had only maybe started the frame down here, I guess they wanted to have the frame so that you could bend it. I mean, you can bend it quite well, but I wish that the frame maybe started here where the wire started as opposed to up here. But it looks like it runs all the way across. Perhaps it's so that it wouldn't pierce and puncture itself through the fabric if it had started further down. But having the cape just defaulted straight down, it does make it look very predominantly like there's something running through the top of the cape as opposed to it flowing naturally. Like I said, the costume is decent. The grays are nice. The texturing that they've added to the costume is good as well. Nice big large bat emblem. In fact, the outfit comes across clearer in figure form than it does in the movie, where it seems so visibly puffy. But I think they did a good job here. The gold in the gauntlets are a little more subtle than some of the other releases of Batman that we've seen, as well as the areas on his knuckles are also more subtle gold. The gold carries also into the utility belt, which is outlined very nicely in the black, and it's on a subtle tone, and I like that quite a bit as opposed to it being a very piercing gold. Articulation-wise on Batman, now this is one of the reasons why you want to pick up a Mafex figure released from Bandai, from Medicom Toys, is just because you get a lot of posable options with the figure. Let's kind of run through that together. He's got a ball joint in the head, but look at the ball joint, how much you can actually bend the figure's head. I mean, you can get a full looking up gesture, like if he's looking at Superman, like flying up here, for example. But you get a good range of motion there. But then you've got a secondary ball joint that's at the base of the neck, right down here. So couple those two, it's basically like the perfect guy, the perfect girl, perfect couple right here in the double ball joint that they've included on this figure. So I like that a lot. The arms, no restrictions whatsoever. It appears that he has perhaps a double, maybe a single maybe a hinge ball joint that's in there. It's been pegged into place, but I mean, you get a good range of motion there. Moves out. I thought it might detach kind of in the way that the legs do, but there doesn't seem like there's any additional separation there of the shoulder. The biceps, of course, rotate back and forth. You've got the equivalent of a double bend in the elbow. So if Batman wants to dispense some elbow uppercuts to the baddies, he can do that. Doesn't have any rotation in the gauntlet, however, but he does have a rotation in the wrist that allow the arms also, or the hands also, to pivot. A good range of motion in the ball joint via the torso ball joint. It doesn't look like he, well, there he is, there he is. It was just a little stiff. He has a secondary ball joint that's actually attaching, well, this section here is attaching via ball joint to the waist. And then you've got the ball joint on the top there as well. Ball joint legs. Now it seems as well like the legs can slide themselves out from the cavity of the waist area, allowing some extra clearance with the legs moving forward and back. The legs can also rotate, and as easily as you can pull them out, you can pop those legs back into their sockets. He has a double hinge on the knee portion of his leg. And then when it comes to his feet are on a pivot as well as a forward and back motion, and he also has an arch on the front toe portion of his boot. Overall, the figure's good. I quite like the figure. Kind of shortcomings when it comes to the frame. I wish that the frame of the cape wasn't as predominant, and I don't really care for the coloring that they've given his mouth area of the mask. Other than that, it's a good solid figure. But it's going to be a little bit more of an expensive collectible, as these guys run about $60 to $80, depending on where you guys can find him. For its size, I think it stacks well against maybe some of the larger, higher-end collectibles. So even though it's a smaller figure and it's a little bit more expensive, I actually would think, from personally speaking and holding onto the figure and kind of walking through with him, I think it's a figure that I could recommend, just he's a little bit more expensive. Today's collectible spot, we were looking at the Medicom toys. This was the Batman v Superman Mafex Batman figure. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more collectible spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.